Let's make some noise for everybody that went on tonight. I want to talk to you guys tonight about tobacco barns, painting tobacco barns, and the Medici effect. Has anybody here ever been to Cameron, North Carolina, or heard about the tobacco barns of Cameron, North Carolina? Thank you, all three of you. I love North Carolina. When I first moved here, my only disappointment was it wasn't like the Dukes of Hazzard that I imagined. Besides that, my whole life, I've really loved North Carolina. I did go through a little phase where I was kind of obsessed with New York, and I had some New York envy. But that was largely because I come from the hip-hop generation. And everything then, like the rap music, the culture, the sights and sounds, I was really obsessed with it, and I wanted to be a part of it. And my favorite artist is also from North Carolina. He was born in Raleigh. Make some noise from Raleigh. Raised in Cameron, North Carolina, from a musical family. And he really wanted to emulate the sights and sounds of hip-hop. Unfortunately, there were no trains or concrete or anything around for him to work with. So he used to spray paint barns and do graffiti on the barns in the area. He got pretty good at it. He went to the School of the Arts in North Carolina, went to a summer art camp in South Carolina. And at this summer art camp, he actually met Shepard Fairey. Hopefully, are you guys familiar with Shepard Fairey? Obey Giant did the Obama campaign poster. Shepard Fairey cites David Ellis as being the first person to ever expose him to graffiti and street art. Make some noise for that. That's North Carolina right there. So I would be happy to hang my hat on that and just be like, that's great. But the big thing about this is a great example of the Medici effect. Has anybody read this book? That's awesome, because I haven't either. But the point of it is that there's a rich Italian family during the Renaissance. They sparked the Renaissance by inviting all these great artists to come to their hometown. And then, these artists bounced off of each other and cross-pollinated, and the Renaissance emerged from that. We're not rich in Italian. That's hard to identify. But we can identify with, like, having a summer art camp. That's something we can do. So whenever I say Medici effect, just think of art camp. That's something we can handle. Now, David could have gone back to the traditional artist past and be like, I'm going to lock myself in my studio, tortured artist. But graffiti art and street art isn't about that. It starts with the community. It's about getting your piece out there and for everybody to see right away. So what David did was he essentially started his own summer art camp. After he graduated school in New York, he invited 20 artists from all over the world to come to Cameron, North Carolina, and paint the barns of Cameron, North Carolina. At the time, these guys weren't very well known, but the crazy thing is that a movement emerged from this. The locals took all these guys in, started referring to them as the Barnstormers. There was no real organization to it, but these guys have kind of been known as the Barnstormers ever since then. This is a piece by an artist named Swoon. It was recently purchased and admitted to the Museum of Modern Art, and this is on a barn in Cameron, North Carolina that you could go see. I guess 4 of you have seen it, maybe. The rest of us could go see it. Another one of my favorite artists, his name is Espo, Stephen Powers. He's done a lot of public artworks. This is his hometown of Philadelphia, invited him to paint the whole train line. And it's a love letter to his hometown from one person. And it uses quotes and pictures from the community and does a mural all throughout. It's amazing love for the community in this piece, and I encourage you to go see it. Thankfully, North Carolina acknowledged this early on. Our own Southeastern Center for Cultural Arts. did I spell that right? I don't know. But they had a retrospective for the Barnstormers in 2004. It was one of the first major museum exhibitions for street art, and it was in North Carolina. I'm really proud of that. Thankfully, it wasn't just the art world that took notice. I work in advertising, and it was really cool to see the Barnstormers and David Ellis. David became a really popular commercial director doing video and also art direction. And I got to see the Barnstormers' work appear in ads for Absolute and Nike and Sephora and countless other clients. Just last year, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles really kind of realized, hey, this is a real movement. We need to document it. The Art in the Streets drew over 200,000 people and eclipsed the Warhol exhibit for attendance records that they had set. So the amazing part is that a lot of this emerged from North Carolina. And a renaissance kind of generated from North Carolina. And the question is, how can we do more of this? What can we do to have, if a street art movement could generate from here, what else can we do to encourage and have more renaissances and more movements from here? And the basic thing we got to do is you got to throw up a vacancy sign, we're open for business. So if you can think of some people like in a rural area could do that, then you really just got to open up. The fastest thing you can do is support organizations like this. Make some noise for PKN, seriously. Because that's the exact thing we're talking about, is bringing people from diverse backgrounds together. You're going to learn from each other, not just from a teacher or from a book or anything. It's about getting together, getting the community, and that's where you take off from, is learning from each other. There's a bunch of tools, technologies enabling you, like Meetup or Kickstarter. It's not a DIY thing. It's not something if you want to start this on your own, don't think DIY. It's not do it yourself, it's do it ourselves. Start with the community first, get everybody together, and then you can move on from there. And lastly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Lump Gallery as people that introduced me to artwork in general. This is a David Ellis mural that is a couple blocks from here. You could walk down to Blount Street and see David Ellis's artwork on the side there. They had some of the first art shows for David Ellis. I DJ'd a Shepherd Ferry exhibit there in like '99. So they've been really exposing like cutting edge artwork in Raleigh for a long time. So be sure to check them out for inspiration. And lastly, starting a renaissance or a revolution might be a lot closer than you think. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a good night.